Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Move Podcast. I'm Lance Armstrong, sitting here with JB Hager and the most interesting man in the world, George Hincapie, according to many of our listeners and viewers. Talking about stage 14. Man, it's clicking along here. Already 14. We only got a week left. What the hell are we going to do after this? What an incredible win. And I'm just going to try to say the name, by Søren Kragh Andersen. Yeah, so we actually have the correct pronunciation of this young man's name.
Søren Kragh Andersen.
Oh, Søren
Kragh. He just kind of rolls it out. It's not like Soren, it's Søren. I don't know. Here he says it again.
Søren Kragh Andersen. In English.
Yeah, that's the way. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Speaking of pronunciation, let's cue our other old friend, Alain. Alain Azizi, a local Aspen resident, been here for decades. But he always helps us with our French pronunciation. Stage 14.
Stage 14, Clermont-Ferrand to Lyon.
You know, that was an easy one. Clermont-Ferrand to Lyon. Today's show brought to you by OURA Ring, as it is each and every day. And again, I keep teasing out this new partnership that they're about to announce. I actually was getting messages this morning from other folks in this sport. This is going to be a big announcement. The amount of data that I'm personally getting out of the ring, and we're seeing, and thanks to you all for sending us your sleep data, your readiness score, all these things. It guides you really for either how you slept or what you should be prepared for, or what you could actually handle for that day's training or that day's work, whatever you're up to. So partnership with us, partnership with the NBA, the partnership they're about to announce, partnership with the WNBA, NASCAR. Does it all. This little piece of technology is absolutely badass. Head on over to auraring.com. There's our flow code. Also, today's show brought to you by Roka. Another win for Roka today. Team Sunweb, sponsored by Roka. Now, one thing, I've talked about the Matadors, which I wear all the time on the bike, and I've talked about the Readers, which I unfortunately now have to wear at almost 50 years old. I've been forgetting to talk about these. Boys, how dope do these look, right? The titanium aviators. These are the sickest aviators ever. You see me?
They look good.
We see you.
They are so. These guys that based down there in Austin, Rob and his whole team just doing amazing work. All great athletes. All push themselves to the limit on a daily basis, whether it's in the gym or they love to spar. These fucking guys like box each other, which I'm out on that, right? And so, as I said, I mean, another great win for them. They're on a roll, as is this team, Team Sunweb. Amazing group of folks down there in Austin. Head on over to roka.com, ROKA.com. And the Move listeners, just our listeners, get 20% off your first purchase. So type in the Move at roka.com, 20% off. Get you some titanium aviators. Last one here for a sec. Also, today's show brought to you by LM&T. Element. I love these guys. And as I say every day, got no skin in this game. It is my go-to hydration product. We're getting a lot of comments also from folks that a couple of things realize the significance of hydration and maybe more importantly, dehydration. This is my go-to. I'm a sweater. That doesn't mean I wear sweaters. That means I sweat my ass off. This stuff comes in individual packets. Cut it down. Put one in your bottle or break it down, 1 and 2 bottles. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. Money back guarantee as well. So if you don't like it, as they say, give it to one of your salty friends. Keep it. Give it away. Like Santa Claus. There's our flow code. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/themove. So boys, that was as predicted. I have not gotten anything right this Tour de France except today, right? Team Bora, put the hammer down, tried to distance Sam Bennett. I'm impressed. I mean, Peter Sagan is an impressive rider. We all know that. This guy, we talked days ago, does he just say, screw it, I'm going to go home and get ready for the Giro where they're going to pay me a lot of money to race? Or do I stay here and try to win my jersey that deserves to be on my back? Man, the guy made up 23 points today, which is a lot. It's a third of his deficit. Sam Bennett easily dropped. And, man, that was action and animation all day long.
Did Sam Bennett get the first bonus, though, or did he get third?
So Peter Sagan got the first one, but Bennett got 6th.
Okay,
so his
the prediction was close, but it was a little bit off because it didn't happen on that category 4.
But then he never came back.
But no, he was back.
He was back.
And on the second category, they dropped the hammer down. Did a ton of work. I mean, there's a massive. I don't think we've ever seen a battle like this for the green jersey. They were laying it all on the line. Bennett gets dropped. 4 or 5 teammates wait for him. And then Bora.
That was George's bling hitting the table.
That was my bling. My boy Steve West's ring, if anybody wants to know. Anyway, they, the amount of work and matches both teams are burning for this green jersey battle is, we haven't seen anything like that in a long time.
So even you have taken an interest in the green jersey.
I don't mind so much the green jersey. The polka dot jersey yet again dropped. Okay, the best climber in the race dropped on easy climbs. I rest my case. Now, but what I would love to have been a fly on the wall or just had access to race radio or team radio. If you were able to listen to the Team Bora, team communication, and Quick Steps, DeCoonick Quick Steps team communication. So as Sam Bennett gets dropped, the director of Bora is like, you guys have to hammer, get your minute up, 2 minutes up as they go. And of course, Quick Step is saying, to their guys, you got to keep riding, trying to bring this back. There's this moment where they give up, and you see it in the race. And at that point, if Bora is riding 100%, as soon as they hear that they've given up, well, then they can take it back. They probably go for another few K, and then they just dial it back to 70. And it's this moment where it really, the entire intensity of the race would have changed.
Yeah, I mean, true, they did dial it back, but then again, you saw on the approach to those Category 4 climbs, they weren't going easy. CCC was at the front, clearly trying to make it hard to launch an attack on those final 2 climbs, and Bora was still up there pulling through. So it was a really, really tough day for being a sort of a transition stage in what we have to come in the next few days, or tomorrow, actually, Monday's the rest day, but I'm still kind of blown away about the amount of energy they're spending on this battle.
Questionable tactics as well in the run-in with, as we saw in the end, Sagan was isolated and alone. Soren Kragh Andersen jumps away. There's no other Bora riders to bring him back, although he was hauling ass. I'd love to see this kid's power file for the last 5K. But just before that, another Team Bora rider tries to go away.
No, it wasn't Hershey.
Oh, sorry, not that. That was the other Sunweb rider.
But Leonard Kienma.
So he makes a go.
Kamna, sorry.
He makes a go, and lo and behold, 2 minutes later, Sagan doesn't have somebody to help him. I don't know. I have to question that move.
I'm watching that on TV, and of course, it's easy to comment sitting on your lovely couch.
It's even better when you're talking to the mic.
I'm watching it on TV. It's very easy to comment being an armchair quarterback, but your team is on the front the whole day, and clearly they have a massive chance to win. I mean, you're all in already. How can you send one guy, or if the guy did it on his own, the director should have been like, bro, you got to come back, because they didn't have anybody left. They really needed him to control those attacks. Sunweb came in with obviously an incredible plan, setting T-Spinoot up the road on the first climb. Then Hershey goes on the top of the first climb. I mean, it was unreal the way they set that up, but Bora, I feel like they really screwed up the tactics there at the end. Of course, Sagan made back some really valuable points, but he had a real chance to win today.
So net, he made up he's now down 43 points. So he made up 23 points, which is significant, right? And that just shows you how tough he is. And this, again, tough. I mean, Team Sunweb, as I said the other day, I mean, chicken salad to chicken shit, and now really back to chicken salad. We may have a chicken salad sandwich soon.
Though these guys are killing it. Not only, I mean, they're 2 stage wins in. They've been top 3 how many times? 5 times or so. They're the youngest team in the whole peloton. So they've really just, like I said earlier this week, they've lost some of their big guns, but they really were able to make up for it tenfold by now. They got 2 stage wins in the Tour de France, where I think half of the teams don't even have a win yet in the Tour de France.
I mean, wasn't that just Sunweb? That was a very old school racing tactic: attack, yeah. And then you eventually catch everybody staring at each other.
Well, you got a guy like T-Spinoot who's won Eroica Classics, is a real hardcore classics rider. You send him in on the first attack, you got some depth on your squad, and I don't know if they actually planned it to that perfection. Perhaps it was Hershey's or Soren's chance to attack when they felt it going, but Soren attacked as soon as Hershey got caught, and it was like textbook perfect tactics.
Two things that stuck out, and I just want to touch on two things we heard about yesterday. One, everybody heard about Romain Bardet out of the Tour with a concussion. I didn't realize until they kept showing it today. I mean, I saw the crash, but I didn't, and we've seen this more and more lately, which is just frightening. Obviously, concussions in all sports are very, very serious, but as he got up after the crash to to kind of collect himself, maybe get back on, he fell back down. I mean, you see stuff like you're like, yeah, you need to go home.
Well, we all missed that. I mean, we didn't we saw
yesterday.
that. We saw that today in the replay, and I'm actually kind of shocked. An organization like ASO, maybe they do, but they obviously didn't implement it yesterday, which our good buddy Ramin Modaber helped create this concussion protocol. When a crash like this happens in the peloton, they instantly, in the Tour of California and a lot of these U.S. races, they'll check and make sure that you're able to pass this concussion protocol before they let you continue on in the race. The fact that he got back on his bike and continued on and still rode an amazing race after something like that, that's kind of like a little questionable that was allowed to happen.
And the other thing that we picked up on yesterday, and we saw the interview today with Egan Bernal, and we questioned their tactics as Ineos put the whole team on the front, tried to isolate Roglic, and was looked to be setting up Bernal, who was then dropped. He said yesterday that those were, and he was very gracious in his interview today, but they asked him at the finish or yesterday evening, what happened? You were off the back. He said he's never seen numbers like that. Right. And so his own individual performance, he did everything he expected to do, but he got dropped. I mean, it just shows you the level of this peloton, and obviously Jumbo Visma is on another level, right?
Yeah, the fact that the previous Tour de France winner tells his boys on the team, like, guys, I'm feeling good, let's go, and then does one of his best performances of his career and still loses 40 seconds. He's on the back foot for the rest of this Tour de France.
Oh, that took a lot for you to say that about a fellow Colombian.
I know. I mean, it's unfortunate, but we do have 4 Colombians in the top 6, so maybe they start working together, get a little unique in the tactics, and try to gang up on these Slovenians.
The other thing, and George, you got a little intel on this about some of the, we talk a lot on the show about innovation and how disc brakes are just almost totally commonplace. That doesn't mean that they're mandatory. So these guys on, day 13, they could ride disc brakes. Tomorrow they could skip it. Now we're seeing guys go between disc brakes and old school caliper brakes. I think you got a little scoop on that.
Yeah, well, I was surprised to see both Pogacar and Primoz without disc brakes yesterday, and I just assumed it was a weight issue. But apparently, at least one of them, they didn't get the disc brake bikes until the Dauphiné, so they're just quite simply not used to riding them.
Right.
And it's not a weight issue. Apparently, their bikes are only a couple 100 grams heavier, which is a gel or 2 in your pocket, so that's easy to make the difference. So it's not a weight issue. It's just a simple fact that some of those guys just aren't used to riding disc brakes, which is a little strange, being that we're in 2020 and we've all been riding disc brakes for a couple of years now.
It is a different feel, right? I mean, if you go from obviously the disc brake works better, especially in the rain, but it's a different it's a different touch on the brake, and so. But by the way, who's the bike sponsor that didn't get them the disc bikes until fucking 3 weeks ago? Like, hello.
But we did see really slow neutral wheel change that you pointed out.
Oh yeah,
today.
thought that was interesting as well. Now, we pointed out, I think in the first or second stage of the tour, that all these mechanics got the drill ready, pop out the through axle and get the wheel in. It's super quick now. But Mavic, somehow they don't have that. They had the little tool, and the guys just moving it by hand.
It took an eternity.
That's got to take another 30 seconds to change the wheel by doing it.
Why doesn't he have the drill? Like, if all the team mechanics have drills, he had it looked like an old.
It's like the old crossbar we used to use in our cars.
In a car,
right?
We might have to hit up the firm that actually just reinvested into Mavic. Tell them to get some drills for their boys.
Yeah, hello, just get some drills. There you go.
So I thought the final was super technical, very twisty. I mean, one section, Lance, you pointed out, they went from being on a two or three lane road to a road the size of a bike path. You saw Ineos get right to the front. I mean, that's just with the climbs, the Category 4 climbs, and then the small roads to big roads, the twisty turniness, that makes for a super, super stressful final. These guys are not getting any breaks right now. I mean, the racing is so hard, exciting, and now they have the biggest stage of the Tour de France coming tomorrow.
Boy, it looks nasty. We'll get into tomorrow here in a second. Any other notes we had from as I was watching, or we were watching today? I know I was up and down a lot, George, moving around, but I'm always watching.
I did have one thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm not sure if you guys caught it. We were watching it over here at the production office, but they were talking about Bardet's concussion, and then Horner was sharing a story of a concussion he had and some old footage, and he didn't remember for like a good 24-hour plus period. Mm-hmm. And then Phil told a story. Did you catch that? He told a story about in a sprint hitting a baby. Right. He said, I hit a baby and then didn't remember where I was or the results or any of that.
That was a pretty crazy story.
And he didn't really, no one followed up, go, wait a minute, did you just say you hit a baby?
And how is the baby? Is the baby right. still alive? Like, is the baby...
right. How did they let that go?
Typically aren't walking, right? Toddlers are, so it might have been a little
how did Bob Roll not pounce on that one?
Bobka, what happened there? I mean, have a little heart. Where's your EQ? What is the status of the baby? I mean, it's a logical question. A lot of us have kids. I immediately, and Bob, by the way, Ruby, you got Ruby. Ruby was once a baby.
How does a baby end up at the finish line? Like, it's just...
Hey, a lot of crazy shit happens in Belgium. We all have been there.
And speaking of Bob Roll, this has nothing to do with anything, but I just want, there's a lot of things in my life that I'm hoping for, right? One of the biggest ones is that I just hope, and Bob, you're not too old to make this happen. I hope Bob has another child. And it's a little boy. And he gets his wife or baby mama to agree to the name Rockefeller Nelson Roll. So his name is Rock and Roll. How fucking amazing would that be?
Bob, hope you're listening.
I hope you're listening. I mean, you have to make this happen for me. There is no kid in the world named Rock and Roll.
Maybe we can get him on and comment on that.
That would be... Woo.
Just to have Bob Roll as your father, that would be damn entertaining.
Yeah, yes, that would. Before we get into tomorrow's stage.
And a couple surprises. I know you have a surprise for George, and I have a surprise a listener sent about you.
Oh, and I think we got some slides. All these little Joe Natale wannabes, and I mean that in the highest and best way, they've just not stopped. We're continuing to get just filthy content.
And we got a cool slide of my new favorite rider in the Tour de France that I was pretty happy to see this morning as well.
Oh, okay, good. But I do have a surprise for George. This one's good. All right, it's sticking with one of our themes for 2020. Not that that's a fucking terrible year, but this is a good part of 2020. Can I see that over there, JB? Thank you, sir. Before we get to our surprises and the slides and talking about tomorrow, which looks like a hell of a day, today's show also brought to you by PowerDot. This is, and I'm rocking. How dope is the hat I'm wearing?
That is pretty dope.
It's so dope, right? The PowerDot camo hat. I talk about PowerDot all the time. For me, it's a daily tool that I use for recovery, for injury, all of the things that happen to me in my sort of daily grind. Cyclists and Tour are using it. NFL's using it. By the way, back today, big game, the Buccaneers and the Saints. Hello. Major League Baseball, PGA. This one's, we invested in this company a long time ago because we saw it as and it was truly a game-changing piece of technology. This is, I don't know, 1/100th the size of a big unit that's going to cost you thousands of dollars. This is a few $100. Also, we got a note from a listener. This is the kind of stuff that companies want to hear. He says, just a shout out to PowerDot, your sponsor. Flawless 2-day delivery as promised to Girona, Spain from their headquarters in the Netherlands.
Oh, that's huge.
Right, so these guys, not only making great product, they're getting it to you on time. And I hope this fella, his name's David. David, I hope you're having a happy recovery there. Head on over to powerdot.com/TheMove, 20% off if you use the buy code TheMove.
If I can chime in, Lance, know you mentioned it's for cyclists, for NFLers, but I just got one of these for my parents. I mean, our parents go through a lot of aches and pains, and I think this is one of the best devices for your loved ones that aren't out on the bikes and working out all day long as well.
Did you buy it or did you email those guys? You're so cheap.
I don't comment on that.
You're the cheapest. You're so cheap. And by the way,
why do you got to ruin my whole spiff there?
Tell your parents
it's
you bought
the truth.
it.
My mom and dad have one of these now.
Yeah, tell your
or
parents.
Getting it.
Today's show also brought to you by Magic Spoon. This one's special for the Armstrong household, and I think for your kids too, George.
Yep.
This is an alternate to when we grew up, we were eating all this shit. These sugary cereals, all kinds of chemicals and colors, and looking back on it, it's a miracle we're still here. Not to it's. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it. My kids have no idea that this is not the alternate crap that we grew up eating. Magic Spoon is 4 different flavors, 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, 3 net grams of carbs. The 4 flavors are cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry. I don't love blueberries, but I love the blueberry. Tastes amazing. They'll send it to your home. Head on over to magicspoon.com/TheMove. And the promo code there is THEMOVE. Magic Spoon. Yeah, baby. So we are in for a good one tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
This is one, this is actually, and I should look deeper here, but, every big tour has what they call the Queen Stage, right?
Yeah.
La Tapa Reina. That's Queen Stage in Spanish.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that.
Is this could be, and again, y'all know that I love uphill finishes. I hate downhill finishes. I think it neutralizes the race. This one's nasty, and she finishes on top of the Grand Colombier, a bunch of steep pitches, 10+%. This one's gonna look at that. Oh,
And let's not forget, we got 3 races going on in one. So we have the points battle. Your favorite, the polka dot battle, and the GC battle.
let's just all hope that somebody actually takes the polka dot jersey that's a climber.
I think we'll see that tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, a lot more points there at the finish. Big question, I guess, like every day, is does it look at all the, got 100 kilometers, más o menos, of more or less flat road. Does a break go up the road and get 10 minutes? I will say, and as much as I hate downhill finishes and love uphill finishes, there is also something, if there is a break with 10 minutes or 5 minutes and the leaders know they're not competing for the stage win, that just, to me, I know they're competing for the GC, but it's a different, boy, I'd love to get into the bottom or go to the bottom of Grand Colombier with everybody together, or let the break have a minute or two, because I think that then is just yet another, just more fuel on the fire.
Yeah, and tomorrow, I highly doubt we'll see Bora or Quick-Step controlling for that first bonus sprint. They're probably gonna be like, okay, this is let's call this a net for tomorrow's stage. If 5,
they're going to be pretty tired tomorrow.
they're going to be really tired, and they have a big day to finish on from that. But that said, even if there is 4 or 5 or 10 guys away, they're still going to sprint full gas for that bonus sprint.
Well, if I'm Sam Bennett, I'm wanting my team to keep it together. He wins, or he beats Sagan in that first intermediate sprint pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, but we got to look at the points breakdown. Say he wins it, there's a good chance that Sagan's going to get second or third. What is the difference between them not doing any work and Sam Bennett getting 11th and Sagan getting 12th? It's pretty much the same thing.
Well, as we say every day, all the time in bike races, there is a moment where Mr. Momentum changes his address. Okay, it changed today. He made up a third of his deficit. If I'm Sam Bennett, first of all, I'd be worried about finishing the tour looking at the last week.
Yeah.
Right, he is going to hate life. I mean, hate life. I saw Sean Kelly, the great Sean Kelly, quoted today that said the green jersey, and he won a bunch of greens, the green jersey is going to come down all the way to Paris. Would you imagine, within points and we're on the last? That would actually suck for the peloton if the green jersey competition.
We've had it
before. It's that close, and everybody just wants to chill and roll in and be like, "Hey, mom."
Oh, the heat's on all day.
And the heat's on, and they're doing these massive lead outs, and it's fast.
Kind of kills the champagne moment.
And then that last sprint.
Last time we had it was with Stuart O'Grady and Eric Zabel, and everybody was going, "Come on, guys, are we really racing for this?" Because you want to be able to sort of march into the Champs-Élysées and not race. But they raced for it. I mean, fortunately, they kept it kind of under control where they only sprinted the last like 2K before the bonus sprint, but it was down to the wire. Eric Zabel ended up winning it, but it was a battle to the end.
Yeah, we could see it again. I mean, Sean Kelly knows what he's talking about. So, should we try to make some predictions? I'm afraid we are going to see a break that stays away, which is just a bummer. I'd love for it to be together.
Yeah.
And at one point, too, when we keep talking about these breakaways, somebody better start predicting Thomas de Hint. I mean, this guy's a breakaway specialist. He has the power.
You saw him aggressive today. He was going after Hershey on the climb and has the legs there at the end for sure.
Okay, I'm going to take a flyer.
Go for it.
I'm picking Thomas de Hint tomorrow.
Whoa, that's a big flyer.
I'm never right anyways, except for today I was right, but I'm normally not right. So I'm just going to, fuck it, I don't care. I'm picking Thomas de Hint. Thomas, if you're listening, I'm picking you.
Him.
George?
I'll go opposite. I'll go somebody from the GC battle.
I love it.
So I'm going to go with Pogacar for tomorrow.
I love it. I love that you. If I could have two scenarios that I could have picked out of, which I guess I can't, I would have picked him, and that would be. I prefer that. So I hope you're right. I really do.
Either way, it's going to be a very exciting stage and super hard first. Well, not the first, but a very, very difficult final climb to the finish.
Very hard. And obviously the rest day the next day. So these guys know, hey, we got a day off, put the legs up, do whatever. So leave it all out there, right? This is as I said, one of the queen stages, if not the queen stage. Should we have a little fun on this show? I haven't had much fun so far.
Wait, the question is at whose expense?
Everybody's going to get fucked with today.
Okay, perfect. Then let's go. Let's roll.
We have some slides. Why don't we start? Higgs, can we start with slides? I mean, these Natali knockoffs, these Joe Natali knockoffs. The one, which I really have a problem and an issue with, this.
I gotta put that on.
The Three Stooges, Lance, JB, and George, and it says, see you in the Stooges. So here's my question for whoever made this, right? Why am I the guy with the worst hair?
The mo.
By the way, look at the hair. That is the hair that they gave George. That's what my hair looks like. Why couldn't you have made me? I don't know if that's Larry, Moe, or Curly, but why did you make? I mean, that's not nice.
See you in the Stooges.
See you in the Stooges. Another T-shirt.
Oh, that's too funny.
What else we got? We got other fun. Do we have more fun things? Or
Can we pull up the slide of my new favorite Tour de France rider? Yes.
This is a great picture. This is, guys and gals, this is what it's about, right? And you see this from time to time. Obviously, we've seen the pictures of Roglic when he first got in, and he looked like a complete Fred. Now the guy's going to win the Tour de France probably. But, here's Nielsen Palace with our man, George Hincapie on. I wonder how old Nielsen is there.
So that's 11 years ago. Nielsen's 24, right?
So he's 13 years old.
We got to thank Nielsen's dad for sending this to us. He sent it to my good friend Aaron out in Sacramento. They've been following Nielsen for since he's been that age.
But when you signed that picture, you said to him, Nielsen,
"Good luck in Roubaix."
Good luck at Roubaix. Did he say, "I want to do that someday"?
I don't remember. It was 11 years ago, but we can ask his dad what exactly he said to me.
Yeah, he might have brought up that's his dream.
But thank you, Dad. That's an awesome picture. Already saved it. Super cool to see.
Maybe Palace will go on the attack again tomorrow.
Maybe
he's been aggressive.
He's made all the big breakaways, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's there tomorrow.
I mean, it's one of these things where after a while, as we all as fans watch this, you just start cheering for people that have laid it out there, and you're like, come on, man, just keep trying, let this guy get a stage win. He's one of them, right? And he's the one. He's animated the race.
So we got Nielsen and we got Hershey. I think those are the two big guys we've been, feeling sentimental about for this Tour de France.
And the polka dot jersey. I feel terrible for this guy when he's.
Well, Sam Bennett too with his first Tour de France stage win, and still hanging tough in the green jersey.
Yep. So I have a little, one of the themes that's been running through this year's the tour coverage or the moves coverage of the tours is the fanny pack. And I've gotten a lot of grief. I mean, a lot of grief, not just for the fanny pack, but what's in the fanny pack, the cables. I'm all about convenience. I don't give a fuck what anybody says at this point. I really don't. Like if I'm eating lunch and some shit's like on the side of my face, I leave it. It's just I might need it in an hour. I just don't care. I don't care what I look like. Well, I guess I did because I didn't like the Three Stooges thing. But, I mean, the fanny pack is just so convenient. So our good friend Matt McGinty he just upped it. And not only did he send us a couple presents, George, I'll first show you mine, right? So he sent us some new, and actually, look at the color. McGinty,
wow.
McGinty just outdid himself. Look at we've got the proper We Do color scheme, okay? All right, so, and not only did he do that, he stocked it. So I've got a box of the new, or not even new, these are old, the cables, right? So I don't have to.
Classic earbuds.
Yeah, I roll them, I put my phone in here, I plug them in, and then I roll it up under my shirt and I let it hang out, right? He got, and I also have my band in here, this little band that I'm doing, just doing some, because here's the thing too, like, we as cyclists and people that sit over their computer, their phones all day, we end up just hunched over, and all this shit behind it's just like silly putty. So I just walk around with my cables on, and I do this thing.
You should join the bunkhouse in the morning. We do our pull-ups to warm up for the show.
I'm not there yet. Got a little lip balm, thank you. A little hand lotion. What do we have here? We've got some. Look at this cute couple. Huh? Dave, look at this cute couple. All right, you got, arm around, and doesn't that just warm your heart? Okay. All right, look at this, holding hands. I got a We Do pen. So George, I don't want you to go without. So Mr. McGinty also hooked you up.
Can I put it on and see what's in it, or
yeah. You have the same stuff inside, by the way.
Okay. Well, I want to do my Lance imitation.
You may want to talk into the mic as well. For those just listening, that's why you can't hear George, because he's now refusing to wear the headset because it fucks with his look.
Hold on, I want to do my Lance imitation with his fanny pack.
Just put as much shit in there as you can.
All right, let's go. Vamos.
I mean, George, here's the thing about the fanny pack. Yeah, everybody makes fun of me.
Oh, I actually do need some of this lip balm, by the way.
But by the way, part two is everybody knocking me hasn't tried it, right? What'd your mom tell you when you were growing up, right? Don't knock it until you try it. I swear to God, you try that for a day. You got all your shit in there. You won't go back.
Let's do a picture for the Stram after the show.
Okay.
Post it up.
Love that.
Dual fannies. Thank you, McGinty.
McGinty, thank you.
And we missed you this weekend.
Yeah, you're supposed to be here, but that's all right. He's got more important things to do. And we're and by the way, Matt, and on a serious note, we are thinking of your friend's family that had a loss there. So we miss you. And I don't know if George is happy, but I'm happy. I'm real happy. I love it. I'm rock this thing around town. Got my band. Got all my crap in here.
All right, I've got a little surprise for you, Lance, that a listener sent in. Daniel sent this in. And you kind of bag on yourself for your French-speaking ability.
Oh, no.
And he goes, no. I remember Lance speaking pretty good French.
This is not going to be good.
This is an old post-race, maybe pre-race. You look pretty clean. Race interview in French.
C'est un vraiment spécial jour de l'équipe. Incroyable, vraiment fort, vraiment comment dire, le rythme, c'est parfait. C'est parti pour doucement et donc après le premier time check, à bloc, c'est incroyable.
How do you explain? Comment vous expliquez? How do you explain the
and then the guy goes,
performance of your team?
This, did you see what happens?
Wait.
This. Did you see what just the most important?
Go back.
No, but the guy, I'm trying. I guess I'm obviously trying to speak French. The guy just goes, "Fuck it, let's speak English." He just switched, and then he asked in English, and then I started answering, I guess in English. Like that's how bad it was.
Let's keep going because George's expression right now is priceless.
Performance of your team.
Non, c'est une équipe vraiment forte. C'est avec les rollers comme Ekimov, comme Hincapi, comme Padronos. Et aussi avec Landis et Chechu Rivière qui fait beaucoup mieux cette année.
Right. You have to speak in English because we are also talking for the other television. So, donc il doit parler en anglais pour les autres télévisions également.
Well,
the performance was incredible. That's what you explained.
Torture. I don't deserve this.
Incredible, was amazing. But is there any explanation?
He told you to speak in
you
English.
asked. I guess you asked.
Did you stay in
during
French?
the prologue that your team was in good position. just to start
Why would I
in the
be
last
speaking
position
French?
in
This guy
time
speaks
trial.
perfect English.
I mean, for us,
Okay, you switch
Okay,
back
good.
to English.
I
but
would
that's
I would
great.
probably edit out
Le
one.
premier time check.
You know what? If anybody,
Whoever sent that in, thank you so much.
Anybody
like
out
my
there,
day is made right now. That was gold.
I mean, anybody out there that wants to be on the move 2021, just hit me up on the side, or Higgs. He can screen. This is unbelievable. I mean, I really felt like y'all were just ragging on me and laughing. You're laughing at me. I mean, he's still laughing. It isn't that George. Come on, I don't deserve this shit. I love you. That was embarrassing. I'm like pitting out right now. I swear to God, I'm embarrassed.
That was good.
That was good.
What else you got, JB?
Some questions, comments. This comes from Jane. Why did Bora drive the bunch so hard once Bennett was 8 minutes behind and not coming back? The classification is based on points, not time.
I know, but this is what I was saying. If we could have had access to the team communication, radio communication, they might have still been riding, but they went from 100% to probably. Once they know they've sat up in the back. I mean, it's not like they're going to go, well, let's start riding again in the back. Like they're done, so they can really back it down.
But they didn't. Can I explain why?
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I should have watched.
I'll
the
tell you
race.
why. Because Peter Sagan happens to be one of the best classics riders in the world. 1 day races of attrition. At this point, there's 50, 60 guys left in the peloton. Their goal now is to make the race as hard as possible. So any sprinters that are left, potentially won't have the matches left in their legs to contest Peter Sagan. At the end, it all went to shit, but that was their plan, I believe.
And it went to shit because they made, in my view, and I think in our view, a mistake. I mean, keep one guy with Sagan, keep that thing together. I think net would have been, although he didn't have the punch that I would have expected in the sprint.
No, but that could be a mental thing
when you're
too.
not sprinting for first,
Yeah,
it's a different
you're not
sprint.
sprinting for first. It's a totally different sprint.
Gavin writes, Lance changed my life. I took up cycling and qualified to go to an Olympics, 2 World Championships, and African Continental Championships and the Africa Games. I was a young man stuck in a lonely, angry, confused life, and I took up cycling when a mate gave me a video cassette of him and Postal Team riding to win the tours. I gave up smoking, drinking, and abusing my life and trained every day, every minute, and in 2 sports changed my life. Thanks.
Love that.
That is
How cool
awesome.
is that?
There's no doubt cycling changes lives.
Yeah.
That's why we continue to ride to this day without having to race. It's a special sport.
Yep.
Here's a fun.
It's our therapy.
Yeah. Here's a fun one. How much crit racing did Lance and George do back in the day?
Well, we did a lot. I mean, when we came up through the ranks, I mean, crit racing was, and probably still is. I mean, it has been the one format that has survived, at least in domestic racing, the longest. Right? It's easier to organize, cheaper to organize. If you think about, a 100-mile road race, closing down roads, making it safe, that's an expensive venture. Crit racing, you 4 city blocks, you got to race, and so we did a bunch of it. George did, obviously more than I did, but I won a couple crits in my day. I won the damn Gastown Grand Prix in Vancouver, which was an amazing race. I don't know why that's not around anymore. I won. Oh God, what's the one up? It's not so much a crit because it's so hilly up there in Central California.
Near Tahoe, right?
Yeah.
Aren't there especially after you win the tour, a lot of exhibition crits in Europe?
Nevada City Classic is what it was. Thank you, George. After this tour, you'll see.
You get like appearance fees to show up.
Yeah, you just show up. They are truly exhibitions.
Yeah.
They're not exactly.
Right.
When I was beating Mario Cipollini in the sprints as I was wearing the yellow jersey.
Right.
But those are big, and those are ticketed events. So they not just shut down the roads or the courses, they fence off the entire, small part of the town. So people have to pay to go in. So that's how they make money. And those are huge, right? The ones in Belgium and Holland, massive crowds.
People want to just
I got a really good post tour criterium story, but I got to run it by the boss later on whether or not I can tell it.
Oh, come on.
For tomorrow.
For tomorrow, save it.
Okay.
Tune in tomorrow. If he lets me do it, it's pretty funny.
All right, James writes, FDNY. If you're American, you know what that means.
Yep.
Fire Department, New York, Lieutenant here. Thank you to the Move for the remembrance. After a hard 24, I always look forward to catching the Move. He's
That's awesome.
24-hour work shift.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
We appreciate your service.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Damon writes, it's Damon here from Australia. Love the show. And when you came to race Tour Down Under in 2009 in Adelaide, was buzzing like never before. What would it take to entice you back to Australia?
Well, not much. Actually, George and I were supposed to go here in a few months. I think any travel plans. I mean, we had our camp in Mallorca that we had to postpone due to COVID. Our trip to Australia obviously postponed. But dude, I don't know. I might get kicked out of America for something at some point. I will do something dumb enough that they will just say, "All right, Armstrong, get the fuck out of here." And I'm going either. I would head to, if they take me, I would go back to Australia or New Zealand. I love New Zealand. So just that part of the world.
I would go to Colombia.
I'm sure you would, but see, and I would, and I also love France, but based on that last clip, I just best not go because I won't know what's going on. So I could go to Australia and I could understand what's happening, but we will be back there. I love that country. And by the way, too, a country that's mad for cycling now, like the Tour Down Under. I'll never forget the reception there in Adelaide in 2009. It was nuts.
Yeah, that race was super fun.
Funny, that event,
awesome.
like when they started it, they were like, "Oh, this is goofy. You know, we got to go to Australia, do a bike race." And they have made that thing has become sustainable. It's now. I mean, George, you did it early days. Like, oh my God, we got to fly.
Big names show up now.
Big names. I mean, it's not just a feel good early season thing. Let's try to globalize the sport. That's a real race.
Well, you take like that Tour Down Under, right, and where it falls in the year, and then also these young guys that are cross racers.
Yeah.
Has the off season gone away compared to how it used to be?
I mean, for Wout van Aert and MVP, yeah, probably. By the way, too, just real quick on Tour Down Under, that none of that would have been possible without Mike Turter. I mean, the founding race director, who I think is retiring. That event never happens. It never grows to be what it is. It never has the significance that it has without Mike Turter. I mean, he was the man. Agreed
with that. Our good friend Stuart O'Grady is taking it over now.
Yep, I read that.
Yep.
He's got big shoes to fill.
Yep.
Emma writes, and you might need to explain what this expression means, but most people know it. Is Bernal rope-a-doping?
No.
I think Ineos is trying to seem more normal. That's from Emma.
No, not if he's producing the best watts he's ever seen.
And you might want to explain what that expression means. I think
rope-a-dope?
Ali was one of the most famous athletes in the world.
And then it became really a tactic in boxing where you sort of pretend like you're getting weak. You hide in the corner, you cover up, let the guy just swing at you like 30 times, and all of a sudden he gets tired and you turn and go, bam, hit him right in the fucking nose and you knock him out. Egan Bernal is not rope-a-doping.
He's not. I mean, he definitely did not want to lose time on yesterday's stage. We can't count him out. He won the Tour de France last year, but he's, like I said earlier, he's on the back foot right now.
On the subject of Ineos, AR writes, do you think they're regretting not having Thomas or Froome there?
Ooh, then that's a great question, and we don't know the answer to that.
With the way Grant Thomas is going right now in Tirreno, potentially missing him.
And he's riding with a little bit of anger, obviously. Mm-hmm. I mean, he tried to play nice, and good on him for playing nice, for being excluded. But you don't win the Tour and be who he is, a potential Hall of Famer, and then get excluded and not be pissed off. I would be absolutely livid. So I think they're missing Geraint Thomas.
For sure.
But I think in as great as Chris Froome is or was or has been, or whatever, if he's leaving the team, you can't take him. We talked about this earlier and before the Tour. You don't take a guy that's leaving the team. You never, ever do that. And so they don't regret that. But looking at it now, I'm sure they regret not taking Geraint Thomas.
Yep, agreed.
Very good. If you have questions or comments.
You're very agreeable today. Something's changed in you too, George.
You're both in such a good
Hey,
mood. today.
we're halfway through the tour.
No, we're 2/3.
2/3.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. Actually, it's only 8 stages.
You
left.
buddy, you better soak it up. You got another week of me.
All right, let's make it a good one.
Send those comments, themove@wedo.team.
And check into Johan's show. The smartest man in cycling. He gets everything right. I would love to know what he thinks about it. Tell me later what he's picking for tomorrow.
Okay.
Please do.
Yep.
All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow when we talk about the Queen stage.
See you tomorrow.
See you in the Stooges.